When they released Ravnica, you probably thought, oh cool, new races and a bunch of confusing nonsense. Then it showed up in D&D Beyond and you got mad because stuff like Category 1 Crassus and new giants or angels were all over the place. Or you're a savant of Magic the Gathering and have a $12,000 deck in hand while you laugh at my ignorance. Click off the video, you fool. You already know all of this. So let's actually explore Ravnica. Imagine, if you are able to do so, that a bunch of companies started nuking each other. They destroy almost everything, and then one of the companies writes up a contract to stop nuking each other, so they can all live happily in a dystopia that spans the entire face of the planet. Welcome to Ravnica. Some number of years later, that contract was accidentally placed in a shredder by an intern, and the whole world was turned on its ass. People who didn't work for those companies started throwing parties in the office lounge without invites, so everyone was handed a gun, and the war started again. Then it ended without too much trouble because the companies realized that friendship was more important than some silly old contract. Their friendship was so strong that it turned into a guy, which is weird because the guy just up and leaves all the time, so everyone starts fighting when he's not around. Let's take a look at each of the guilds, because guilds are important. It's literally half the title of the book. Screw alphabetical order, because the Simic Combine is cool as all shits. These guys used to be a bunch of doctors who went completely Bioshock. They reach into the ocean, pull some claws off a crab, and wear that shit like an aquatic cyborg. The city is so old and massive that they just start stacking new cities on top of the old cities, which makes getting to the ocean a strange process. Simic scientists make big-ass sinkholes and stuff their laboratories into the sides. They follow two simple creeds that I think are awesome. The first is Holdfast, which says don't do shit that isn't natural. The second is Upwelling, which promotes righteous ageism and progress. Each guild does stuff that warrants a D&D adventure, and the Simic Combine has a habit of making enormous abominations that rampage and destroy parts of the city. Like this game. The Izzet League are a bunch of common blue-red cards. They started as humble engineers, and are now batshit insane engineers. Their entire creed and way of life is, we find out what we invent after we invent it. They throw science at the walls and see how it sticks, so most of their science is working theories as opposed to mathematical perfection. They have a crap ton of libraries dedicated to different types of research, from teleportation and cloning to blowing shit up. Their leader and founder is a smart-ass dragon who knows everything. Dude's like a well-read Tarask, don't fuck with him. Somehow barbarians still exist in Ravnica, and the Gruul clans are basically Mad Max. Their leader is this Cyclops, whose appearance says almost everything you need to know about the clans. There are 8 Gruul clans, all with unique little traits but are ultimately the same in their goals. The clans are brutish boys who want to level Ravnica and start the game from the beginning. The people who are better at nature join the Celestia Conclave. People in this clan are a cult of sissies who don't really care about the rest of Ravnica. I guess they're a lot like the blue guys from Avatar. They're all about unity and they live under big trees. The Conclave works exclusively to grow its numbers, so that when another clan slights them, a wave of 18 million people show up at that clan's front door, armed to the teeth with armored squirrels. One of the weirdest guilds in Ravnica is the Cult of Rakdos. It's run by the parallel universe version of Grazit, Rakdos, who also enjoys carnage sprinkled in with his hedonism. He's pretty much the Joker as a Balrog. His cult has no goal other than enjoy today, and for some reason doing that entails trapping strippers in spiked cages and then setting the building on fire. But who am I to kink shame? The two clans that fight Rakdos are the members of the Fun Police and the More Righteous Than You crew. The Azureus Senate are the lawmakers and governing force of all Ravnica. Created by the coolest looking Sphinx in all D&D, this branch consumes more paper than Dunder Mifflin could provide. The Senate is run by 3 columns. One is a branch that writes too damn many laws. Another is a branch of judges who rereads those laws. And the last is the police force, where adventurers would find themselves. Their end goal is perfect harmony and peace for all Ravnica. But if we've learned anything about historical government, it's freedom versus safety. And the Azureus Senate is all about safety. The Boros Legion was actually hard to figure out, because half the guild's description involves sucking the dicks of the angels that run it. It looks like they fight ideals as opposed to people, and they somehow run around smiting corruption and lawlessness. Its current angelic leader, Aurelia, who's actually really badass, believes in complete equality and peace through compassion. Kinda reminds me of this one dude that lived a long time ago. I like that guy. The main issue they have is that they're so passionate about fighting for peace that they fight against people who disrupt the peace, instead of approaching them peacefully. Kinda reminds me of the people who tried to follow that dude from a long time ago. I know I said the Cult of Rakdos was the weirdest guild in Ravnica, but this group of farmers and garbage men gone undead cultists is some top shelf weird shit. Their leader, a lich named Jared, has been assassinated at least a handful of times by other Golgari agents. But he's a lich, so he got better. They're a lot like the Conclave in terms of nature appreciation, but they grow and eat rotten mushrooms instead of cannabis. They work and live underground in the ruined sewage of old Ravnica, and plan on helping all of Ravnica fall apart and rot, because they think undead Ravnica will work better, somehow. The Off Syndicate is the Ravnica Church Mafia. Just about every guild is a horribly twisted version of their original ideals, but the Syndicate takes the cake. If you're a sinner, you must donate. If you're devout, you must donate. If you're in debt, donate, and luck will be on your side. See the pattern here? They're actually a bank now. The Orzhov Syndicate is like a leech on the belly of the Azureus Senate, manipulating each law for financial gain. I don't need to say much else. They're a pretty simple evil. Oh yeah, and they're run by a council of ghosts. Whose CR is 8? Guys, seriously, go kill them? Seize the means of production and crush the capitalist leaders? They're the weakest guild leaders? And then there's House Demir, a very small group of mailmen and librarians who aren't up to anything suspicious. Seriously, they're all great people who aren't plotting anything. So those are the guilds. If you haven't bought the book, but are interested in the races, here's a breakdown. They did what I did to elves, where they're mostly the same, but the history is different. They finally gave us centaurs, and they're exactly what you'd expect. Hefty nature lovers who fight for honor with a higher carrying capacity, and are rideable player characters. I mean, technically all characters are rideable, but... Goblins were given a stat block, which I could have sworn they already had. Loxodons are insanely cool in my opinion. I'm a sucker for old sages in games, and that's exactly what these guys are. They're also very large creatures, which I can relate to. They're loyal as hell, like art, and usually join the Celestia Conclave. I kind of want to hang out with one. Minotaurs are bull half-orcs. Simic hybrids are deep-sea super soldiers, who all look really awesome. They have access to weird starter boons, like inherent slow falling or poison glands. Vidalcan are seemingly passionless smurfs that I see on Magic the Gathering cards a lot. Their mentality seems to be exclusively progress and understanding. And of course, in order to understand the mathematical patterns life holds, you need to be partially amphibious. They also threw in 2 subclasses that fit the setting, Paladin Clerics and Mushroom Druids. The actual setting the book provides, map-wise, is the 10th District. It's got 6 locations for your players to dick around in called precincts. Precinct 1 has the mall, the guild pact office, and the bank. Precinct 2 has houses and boring shit, but there's also an airship station here, so that's pretty cool. Precinct 3 has a bunch of plants and parks, housing people who chill out with plants. Precinct 4 has 2 explosive guild halls and a wasteland for a 3rd, so the whole place is mostly a warfront. Precinct 5 is a Ravnican university, where weird Simic shit, Izzet researchers, and a very quiet, cozy Demir house is. Precinct 6 is a blue-collar warehouse district with sewage runners and fire dancers in healthy supply. It's a thick book with a lot of stuff to mull over in it, and I'd recommend getting it if not for the setting, then for some unique ideas to tear apart. Ravnica and big city with many problem, and it much need your help. That's basically Ravnica. Okay, I lied before. House Demir is actually a complex network of spies run by a vampire who seek to learn everything while hiding the truth about their own guild. You see, the dark truth about House Demir is they act...